Hey everybody, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. Today we are starting it off with working for Dirt Perfect and hauling his Caterpillar D4G dozer. Then we're going to go check out a quick family camping trip we did at a pretty unique privately owned campground. You guys see the spiral staircase there in the video. Then we're going to head back up to the property, get on the John Deere 755 and do the final cleanup of the field we just got done top dressing. Then a hired haul for John Deere 750K dozer and my thoughts on speed binders.
So today we are going to be hauling some equipment for Dirt Perfect, however, not on that trailer. He's got the dump trailer hooked up. We don't use it too often, but it's pretty handy to have around anyway. See if we can get this thing unhooked, and we'll get going. We'll go track down the lowboy. Actually, found it. And then we'll go track down the D4 we got to haul. That one I'm not 100% sure about, but we'll find it. Check real quick. Take the sunglasses off, and it's locked in there. So whenever I get in after I hook up a trailer, and I should probably do it more than just when I hook up a trailer, but I run my trailer brakes right here and just do a little tug test. Should feel some resistance. Here's some resistance. Yep. That way, when we take off, we know we're not going to lose the trailer, at least. It's a little bit better chance of not losing the trailer. We're going to pull over here and get some fuel. We're taking off from Mike's lot. We just got some fuel. We weren't too terribly low on fuel. We had half a tank, but we are leaving for a camp out as soon as the girls get home from school, and I didn't want something silly to happen on a Friday, which seems to be when silly things happen, like run out of fuel. So I figured I'd just top it off real quick. We're gonna head up to Mike's, go pick up the D4. Hey, normally I turn around here. Right here, right where the hay's at. Maybe we'll try that. Maybe we'll try that spot. And we'll just give her a quick catch. Oh, there's logs back there, but I think we're gonna go. Oh. There's a log back there. Weird place to put a tree. Another thing, I'm just kind of curious, looking for your feedback on the microphone so far. Definitely been a learning curve. I've definitely had clips where I've forgotten to plug the microphone in, which I have to unplug the microphone to change batteries. And there's been a few times I was like, this will be a really cool clip. When I'm sitting there talking, just having the time of my life, and I forget to plug the microphone in, so I upload the clip, and I look at it and watch it, and there's no sound. There's also times where I forget to plug it in, and then the GoPro tries to pick up its own audio, which is still fine, but not as good as the mic, I don't think. And then it just kind of looks funny too. Anyway, looking for your guys' feedback. How you feel about the microphone? You guys liking it? You loving it? Loving this weather. Loving that view. Loving the fact that we all know we're going to have to jumpstart this dozer. All right. the master's off. That's always a good thing. Climb up here to that settle. And let's see, parking brake is on. That's always a good thing. A little jiggle jiggle. Uh-oh. Are you gonna do her? Oh, you're so close. Hey, all right, jump back at this one. All right, let's see if we can get this battery charger hooked up real quick. There we go. Let's see. Parallel, so we're on 12 volt, which is handy because this has the option 12 or 24. You guys have seen that. We're going to 12, and I know we're getting comments right now. How come Mike doesn't buy a new battery for this dozer? I think this is a great cost-saving technique myself. Why buy a battery for each individual piece of equipment when you can buy one battery for all your equipment? I mean, it's got cables, it's a handle, it's everything you need. I think it's smart. It's a cost-saving measure. All right, I wonder how long it's been sitting here. There's a little smoke coming. There she is. All right. Yes. And yes. Yes. I probably should take this with me. You know what? I probably ought to take this with me. At least that's the thought process. Take his jump pack with us just in case. It should be good for now, but let's just take this with us in case, and we'll get her chained down and we'll get on the road. Come on, baby, get up there.
Both the main ramp and the outer ramp, the little section that flips out at the end, have transport locks. For that transport lock to work on that outer ramp, it has to fully close for it to engage. But for whatever reason, the cylinder that operates that ramp, it's kind of bypassing itself once it gets towards the end of its stroke, so it's not fully closing like it should there. I just put a board underneath it and then set it down on top of that board to get the transport lock to engage. It's not a big deal. It just started recently happening, and Mike has this trailer on the schedule for a complete overhaul, complete rebuild this winter, which will be pretty awesome to see. So like I said, not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, and pretty excited about the videos that's going to be coming out whenever he gets that trailer in the shop and gets to work on it.
Brake right now, we're going pretty slow, plus we're not really that heavy. Make this turn. Oh boy, that's close. Whoops. Good news is we got her though. Here's our stop right here. I guess I don't have to make the sound. It does it for me, doesn't it?
We did end up hauling the Volvo 140 out later that day as well, but like I said, I was kind of in a hurry trying to get home because as soon as the kiddos got home from school, we were loading up and headed out and going for a 2-night camp out at a place called Sycamore Springs. So I didn't really do a lot of video as far as the 140. In fact, when I say didn't do a lot of video, I mean this is it. That's the only thing I recorded for hauling the 140 that day. We loaded there on the road, got kind of straightened out, so we just blocked one lane, got it all chained down, and then headed back. So if you've been with the channel for a while, then you guys definitely know, by all means, we are an outdoors type of family, and we love camping. Sometimes it's tent camping, which is this trip. Sometimes we do primitive cabins, which primitive cabins typically just have 4 walls, a roof, AC, heat, a bed, and a mini fridge. There's just no bathroom or kitchen or anything like that. And sometimes we just rent an all-out cabin with all the amenities, like, you know, the fancy things, a bathroom. Here we are trying to get a family photo. We got the phone propped up on the Jeep on that playground there. But one thing we've noticed since COVID has occurred is that there are a lot more people that are out camping. And it's kind of fun because it's kind of pushed us out of our comfort zone. It's a little, you know, we kind of have mixed feelings about it. Of course, all the favorite places that we go are now crowded. There's all kinds of people there before when we used to just have it to ourselves or other campers. But it is nice to see other people that wouldn't normally enjoy or experience that kind of thing get out and get to make those memories, especially when you see other kiddos running around the campground. You know that's something they probably would have never done had this happened. So there's kind of that silver lining in there. Another thing that it's done is since there are so many people camping, typically we do state parks or national parks, but a lot of those are booked up and full and kind of actually difficult to get into right now, which is pushing us out into campgrounds we've never experienced, which is how we ended up here. This is called Sycamore Springs. It's located in English, Indiana, which is in Crawford County, southern Indiana. It's a privately owned campground. I say privately owned, it's owned by a foundation, and their job, their mission is to keep this park open. There are dozens of playgrounds just like this all over this campground. And if you're wondering where all the old playground equipment went in southern Indiana, I'm pretty sure it found its home here. You guys saw there's some older playground equipment, but really well maintained, really clean, and a great place overall. Of course, they have their livestock. They have the goats you can feed. They've got a donkey over there, which the girls absolutely loved. I think it's around 200 acres is the total size of the property. And 3 sides of the property are bordered by the Little Blue River, which is probably closer to a creek by my standards, but it's a limestone base creek, and it's absolutely beautiful. We got a little bit of footage of that coming up as well. There's also a fishing hole, which is probably an old collapsed sinkhole. It's about 15 feet deep. It was just a very pretty, scenic area. They have a couple lakes, ponds on the property. They have 2 shower houses. They also have some very unique attractions, just some different things you wouldn't see at a state or national park because they are their own place. They have this, they call it a bike track, but we didn't bring any bikes, so it was just a running track for the girls, but they loved it. With this pretty cool, unique arch bridge. So like I mentioned, they have several smaller lakes, and this is the one that we ended up camping next to. The campsites or tent camping sites next to this lake actually had electric, which was really nice for us. We enjoy that. This is the Little Blue River I was talking about. Like I said, kind of more of a creek on my standards, but it's that limestone bottom, like I mentioned, gives you that beautiful clear water. You can see all the little fish swimming around in there. We walked the banks for a little bit. The girls love looking down in there and seeing everything swimming around. And then, of course, being southern Indiana, you get all of these beautiful, very cool, very unique limestone outcroppings and these limestone overhangs, which we love climbing all over. So this is probably one of their more unique features on the property. You see the cliff there and the little horseshoe kind of cove. And they say whenever it rains, it flows a pretty nice looking waterfall there, but unless it's raining, there's no water flowing through there. But this spiral staircase is about 3 stories tall. You get to the top, you walk across another catwalk, you go over another set of stairs, and then you walk across that bridge that goes across that little horseshoe cove. So it's a pretty cool thing. I've said in other videos, I'm always a fan of unnecessary or what would be considered impossible infrastructure, and I think this definitely fits that category. All in all, it was a great weekend. We had a great time. There were lots of other little families around us with their kids running around, having a good time playing with each other. We're also a campfire type of family. That's kind of how we like to cook. This was the last morning we were there with a little bit of coffee on the fire in the morning. Like I said, great time. I hope you guys enjoyed that little snippet of the campout. Next, we're going to head up to the property, get on the John Deere 755, and do a little bit of finish-up work where we top-dressed that field and pulled that ditch back.
Well, it's not the smartest thing I've ever done. I don't know what else you'd use to open up a bag.
Scissors?
Oh, sure. Have a good answer.
So I left our oldest over there by the barn to spread some grass seed around the barn where we first cleaned up around. She asked if she could help out, and I said absolutely. Of course, we always love when the kiddos come out and want to be involved with the projects we're working on. If you guys remember from this video, I'll post an info card up here real quick so you can go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. But if you remember from that video, we brought Dirt Perfect's skid steer up here, his 90-2 Kubota SVL skid steer, and we ran that power rake around and kind of top dressed everything up after we pulled this ditch back with the leftover dirt. And that power rake does an exceptional job. It really, truly does. But you can see there's still some skid steer tracks and marks left, and I just wanted to run over it a few more times, try to get a few more sticks and roots and rocks out of it, break up where the skid steer tracks are left. Just a final little cleanup before we throw some grass seed down. Now, as far as the field itself goes, I'm not going to spend the money to straw all of that. It is top dressed, which means there's a good grass root base underneath it already. We'll throw some seed on top, but I can't bring myself to spend the money to seed that whole field. But I did get some rolls of straw for the bottom of that ditch, more for erosion control. Here comes my neighbor rolling up on his tractor saying, I've got an easier way to do that if you just want to try this instead. And I absolutely took him up on it. He just had a hip broadcaster like that. Definitely easier than carrying the whole bag around and throwing it out by hand. You gotta love neighbors who are always willing to help you out. But all in all, we're pretty happy with the way that project turned out. Just a little bit left to rake around the trees, and we're gonna call that section done. Coming up next, we're going to hop back in Dirt Perfect's Mack truck and go haul a dozer for another gentleman who owns another small excavation company. It's a John Deere 750K dozer. And I'm also going to give you my thoughts and opinions on speed binders and what our biggest problem has been with the speed binders since we started using them. It might surprise you.
Oh, that's a pretty view, though. Oh, that's a pretty view. Look at that. Beautiful.
So we got everything loaded up and chained down. Troy is always a pleasure to haul for. Every time, he's always there to load his equipment. His tracks are always cleaned out. The equipment's always cleaned, and he always helps me chain down. We're in and out of there quick every time. I really, truly enjoy hauling for him. I'm going to let this play for about a minute so you guys can just kind of listen to the sounds of the truck. It's been a while since I've done a longer clip like that. And then we're going to jump into the speed binder conversation. So let's just jump into a real quick speed binder update and kind of how they've been performing for us. As far as the speed binders go, they have held up great. And as far as my opinion goes, I really do love them. You guys see whenever I haul for Mike, it's typically 2 or 3 loads a day. I don't know if it makes anything faster, but I will say this. I used to always have pain in my hands whenever I was chaining equipment down at the end of the day after a long day of hauling 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of equipment. I don't have that anymore, so I definitely do like them. But we do have one small issue, and it's not anything to do with the speed binders. It's to do with the setup. I'm not sure what's going on, but we are on our 3rd DeWalt charger. We have an inverter on the truck and then a 120-volt DeWalt charger, and we keep 4 DeWalt batteries on there for the drill. For whatever reason, we're on the 3rd charger. So speed binders, awesome. Love them. I still recommend them to people. The charger, I don't know what's going on. We're going to have to tweak the setup just a little bit, but I'm definitely glad we have them, and I'm definitely glad we're still using them. If you're not familiar with what speed binders are, here's an info card to when we first got them. And then one last thing before we close this video out. Here's a sneak peek of the upcoming video, and you may notice something a little bit different about the Volvo. Let me help you out one more time here. There you go. Yep. I broke another one. Now, I have a perfectly good explanation to why that mirror is broken, but if you want to hear that, well, you just have to stay tuned to the channel, be sure you're subscribed, and make sure you watch the next video, which should be on Thursday. Hope you guys are having a good whatever you're having. As always, thanks for watching.